What's up? Oh, where to begin? Where to begin? Well, let me get myself set up here. Just made myself a drink. It's been a quiet Saturday and Sunday. A little too quiet for my good. How about you guys? All right, so where were we? Um, yeah, I'm out of it today. I'm out of it today, but what a crazy couple of weeks I've had. What was it, 2 weeks ago? I was like, I need to make some financial changes, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And it's amazing um, when your back is up against the wall. At least that's how I felt. I didn't. I may have overreacted. That's something I've started learning about myself. Is I think I overreact a little bit too fast. It's kind of like a protection thing I do to myself, right? A defense. I feel something looming, threatening, and I maybe go too fast on trying to brace myself for impact. But that's also a good thing. So like 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how I want to, feel good about my business, right? I want to feel proud of it. And I am proud of my business, to be honest with you. But when things are going good, you don't notice some of the things that you can work on. When things are good, I don't necessarily go, "Oh, I don't have any problems." I don't say that, but I definitely go, the problems I do have aren't that bad. When things are good, you know what I mean? Like we're in the middle of the season, money's coming in, and it's like we're going good. You know, everything's going good. I'm getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. We have a strong team, strong management team. Things, every year, things are improving. What's up, Chase? So, but it's when you have like, I would say, morning landscapes. I would say when you have like when I have a bad couple of weeks, or at least a couple weeks ago, I started noticing. You know what? Um, when I have a couple of bad weeks, I look at some things and things aren't as great as I think they would be when things are going awesome. So it was like, I should have more money kind of in operations, not necessarily credit cards. So that was one of the things I noticed. So what I did was in the last week was, hey Sydney, was I was like, you know what? Let me start getting out of the use of credit cards. That's probably going to be my first step, right? That's what I thought a couple weeks ago. Because I'm paying money on interest, and not only that, it's like relying on the credit cards. There's no difference in using credit cards and using cash out of an operations account. Really, there's no difference. The only thing is you're kind of obligated to pay those cards, and you kind of feel like you can always have some money in operations, and you pay off the cards, not pay them off, but you put money in the cards, and guys, and the business can keep moving, and you feel like things are going smooth. And when things are going really good, when money's coming in, you can put in more money into those cards, and kind of, and everybody just use the cards however they need to get as much work done as possible. You know what I mean? And it seems like it works, but that's actually a bad model that I realize that I do, and I need to fix that. Um, Ty, last week, lost your job last week. No warning, completely out of the blue. company-wide layoff. It's rough out here, man. Using the credit card is now my go-to. No good. Yeah, I mean, obviously there are times where we have to use the card. I mean, there have been many, many winters, probably every single winter for what have I been doing this for almost 16 years. I've been using credit cards. Now, obviously, like last year and the year before, it's kind of less and less, because I do other things, but for the operation of the business, I have used it in the wintertime, and that has come back to bite me so many times. There's nothing worse than like starting the season in a hole. You know what I mean? And so that actually is my thing now. That's my new thing to get out of this kind of like mid-season, you know, I don't know what you call it, financial stress. I'm working on building a 2 month bills reserve. Okay. And I thought about doing this, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever I was talking, I did a video, a live on, how I wasn't super proud of my business. I am proud of my business, but when you've like fed up with your belly, and you're like, you feel like there are times in your life where you let yourself go a little too far, and you finally get fed up. You look at yourself and you go, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm doing it. I'm going to get on the damn treadmill. I'm going to eat better. It's going to be a rough 2 or 3 months, but I'm doing it because I'm fed up. Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about with my business. I'm sick of the financial ups and downs. I know that's business. I know that's realistic, but there are some systems of the way you have money in your business that you can actually feel good about. You know what I mean? Like really feel good about. Sitting in a round table meeting with people that are in the industry with you, and if I were to say, yeah, I've got 2 months of business reserve in an account, we don't touch it, we only pay our bills out of there, and we keep it full for 2 months worth of bills. Maybe even, in the future I could say 3 months, 4 months. But right now I could sit around that round table and say I have 1 month full budgeted for the next month. 1 month. And that was me back against the wall 2 weeks ago to now going, you know what? I've got to push this. I got to get this done. So that was my first step. And obviously I had 2 vendors that I needed to pay. And so I did that. Why have to be round? I want a rectangle. Hexagon maybe, for sure. I'm just thinking like we're knights, Business owners are knights, and they're just sitting around the round table. So anyway, I just want to be able to like, you know what I mean? Because people that watch your business, like I'm just guessing, right? People look at my business and they go, dude, it's awesome. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a lot of trucks. They're all branded. We've got one-man crews. They're all paid really good. People that work here, they talk to their friends. They talk about how much they make. We get people, not super qualified people all the time, but we get people coming in because they were referred by another worker, and that's kind of cool. So they're obviously saying good things about their business. You know what I mean? About where they work. So there's a lot to be proud of here. I live okay. You know what I mean? I pay myself, so I do okay. Um, and things like that. But like, I want to be able to sit with on any kind of table shape of other business owners that run a business and be able to talk about what's under the hood with other people, so that matches the operational side of things, right? I'm very proud of my operational side of the business, but I'm not 100% proud of the under the hood stuff, which I guess is like I have to remember that like I can't control everything. You know what I mean? Like I can't control that. I do the best I can, right? We're marketing. I have not paused any marketing. That's still going. Like, I'm paying for that just like I do when it's busy. It's just slow. So, I mean, we're still kind of, in fact, I'm actually talking to other marketers um, to add more stuff because obviously what we're doing is kind of hit a plateau right now at this stage of the season, and I need more work to come in. So I got to try to figure out what to do there. And I've been talking with my marketer. I've been talking with a new marketer, saying, "Hey, what can you do additional to what I've got going on?" And I have some ideas. And I have another meeting with them. I hope on Monday to do some social media marketing stuff. I think that's something we've been lacking, and there's a huge opportunity there. So, we still got an awesome team. I do have an estimator going on vacation this week, and that's going to be rough. That is going to be rough. So, in fact, after I finish this live, I've got to talk with a couple of landscapers that I have. Actually, while I'm here, I'm going to see what the schedule looks like tomorrow for the landscapers. The landscaping crew is a big deal for me. When that's doing good, the money's going good. When that's doing bad, it's really tight. Things are really tight. Yeah, so I've got to talk to my landscapers and talk about, hey, what's it going to look like tomorrow or this week if things are really slow? How do you feel about that? It would be fantastic if my landscapers and my sprinkler techs wanted the days off next week. But you know how that goes. You tell a landscaper, or you tell any worker there isn't any work, and they're going to panic, and they're going to start looking for options out there. That's just the way it is. You have to remember that. So I am looking. We do have some work. Oh, damn it. It's a customer we already did work to, so I've got to send somebody back. But it's work, right? Somebody's got to go back. Let's see. I have a feeling I know who that was, and it was them. So let's see, I'm going to move this job over here. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep guys busy. Oops, wrong person. But I got to talk to some of my guys and be like, look, realistic talk here. Things are slowing down a lot. Could you use a couple days off this week? Or even better yet, what would you like to see done? What can I do this week if it's slow for you? And we'll see. You know what I mean? Which is just so weird, I mean, we've never been this slow for the landscape crews and sprinkler crews this time of the year. For sprinklers, it usually slows down next month. Never this month, this early. Or at least later on in the month, like way later. So, but, all right, let's get back to my feeling better about the business and me overreacting, what that does. So, 2 weeks ago, we were barely making enough money for payroll. There have been probably 2 weeks in a row where we only made enough for payroll. That's freaking crazy. That's crazy. So the couple weeks after that, things started picking up a little bit more. And then for like the last 3 weeks. Yeah, I got my times all messed up, guys. So I've got my times messed up, but I've got the timeline, or at least the stage of things going. I know what happened stages. So I was feeling panicking because we had just enough money for payroll, which is a good. It could be worse, right? It could make not enough for payroll, but we do pretty good with our one man crews. We typically will make like the guys. I looked at every single person, especially during those bad times, entered in those numbers and spreadsheets I try to do every day. For the most part, I'm caught up. I think I'm caught up with everybody. Sometimes I'm not caught up with sprinklers, but anyway, I'm caught up with everybody else. And the deal is they're all bringing in money. They're all in the positive, right? So they're all making in the 70s, $70 per man hour, 80, 90, 100. The mowing, garden, sprinklers, sorry, yeah, even sprinklers, and fertilizing, landscaping, they're all bringing in money, like more than enough to cover their bills or their payroll and some. So when you go 2 weeks of just paying payroll, dude, it's scary as hell, because then you're like, man, things are tight. Um, but then a couple of weeks later, well, that's when I started really, I would say, panicking. Sorry, I was off the screen. I don't know if anybody said anything, but I've been I've been panicking a little bit internally, stressing out. So then I realized I don't like what's under the hood right now. The hood doesn't match the business. So what I'm going to start doing is come up with a plan so that I don't have to stress during those times of, because to be honest with you, like not having a big week or couple of weeks of deposits, of nice, good, regular deposits that we make, I should have some kind of cushion or something that's like, dude, all right, we had a couple bad days, couple of bad days, it's fine, that's the way it is. But I felt like I didn't have that because I have my money like all over the place. I've got what I would call like a profit account where I put money in. But the thing is, truthfully, um, we need to, like I've been investing a lot of money in the sprinklers in the last couple of years, both with employees and materials and their setup and the software and the system and the overhead of that, of making appointments and all this stuff. It costs a lot of money to run sprinklers. It costs a lot of money. So I've been investing in that, and that's been making things tight too. So really, I shouldn't be putting my profit away. Really, I mean, I'm getting paid. I'm not. There was one week where I did not get paid this year. I told the payroll. I told my office manager to not pay me, um, and that didn't feel good. But I just had enough. I had some things I had to pay for the business, and I thought, you know what, I can go a week without my check. So I did that. But so things are going okay. But I started. I was like, all right, I'm gonna pull some of that profit account. I'm gonna pull some of that money. Plus, we had some good days. So the extra deposits that came in, I mean, we went from like barely making payroll every day to having like a couple of $15,000 deposits back to back to back. So it was like, it's really weird how that happened. Thankfully, that happened. So I was able to, because I was stressed and like my defense mechanism was in full force, I put a bunch of money into what I'm calling my fixed overhead account. So all those bills that you have every month that you have to pay, the phone bill, the mortgage, the you know, software, insurance, auto insurance, healthcare, all the bills that are just every bill. I put enough in there, and barely paid some expenses that were daily stuff, like, we had to buy like, I normally have more money for the mechanic, so he doesn't really need to ask, hey, I need to buy brakes today. So usually he just goes and does it. But we've been so tight that he's like, hey, man, I need to spend 40 bucks on brake pads. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then if I have to move $40 from my leftover money after putting money away for the bills, I've been putting some money in his card. So I still have his card active because he needs something. Like, we have to fix cars and like we have to fix our trucks, whether it's wiring issue, a light, brakes, tires. I just always have to be ready for that. You know what I mean? So but he's really good about knowing, like, hey, things are tight. So I'm trying to, like, go to the pick apart, find parts there, use those cheap parts. So he's been doing really good, like super helpful, like amazing helpfulness in doing that. So I've been able to put away enough money to have the bills paid. And this was like, so it's already the 3rd of August. I have all the bills in an account, all the money to pay the bills for this whole month. I have it, and even some of the next month, like some of the first bills of next month of September. Can't believe we're already talking about August, September, guys. You know what that means? Snow. We got to get ready for snow, and we've been already planning for snow. So I should feel super proud and happy that I was able to put away enough money for the bills. It just kind of makes me mad at myself that, like, it only took me 2 weeks to do that, and I never thought of doing this before. You know what I mean? Here's the truth. Like, looking back after I did this, I realized I've had money to pay, to even, what do you call it, fund the next month and possibly even a month after with bills. I've had that, definitely. But I've always kind of had it in different accounts that I didn't want to touch. You know what I mean? That I only used when I absolutely had to. And like I said, when things are going really good, you don't notice that. You don't notice that's not a great system. What's up, Jeff? Yeah, I'm having a pretty good day. Um, Obviously, things are always stressing me out lately. Hopefully, they're good with you. Um, so yeah, I just feel like I wish I would have done this funding the next month earlier, like years ago, right? But I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now, and we already have plans. We've got some checks that are due to us, that I'm going to put directly in there again, and that'll cover 2 months worth of payroll. Sorry, not payroll. Definitely don't have that much for fixed bills. And once I have the 2 months, then I mean, like in a lump sum, right? So right now I have 1 month filled, and the money that I have extra after putting aside for payroll, I'm putting into an ops account, to pay, like, any outstanding, like, credit cards that for materials. Like, I have 3 credit cards that are just kind of like, I could shut them off and nobody in the business would care. So those I'm kind of like not doing anything with other than paying the minimums on those. And then I have 2 credit cards that we use for materials, and I'm trying to pay those down, and then we're just going to go cash. Um, Jeff, I had a job to do this morning, worked around the house, but now I'm taking it easy and rest of the day. Yeah, I actually have family coming over. Well, I do every Sunday. But this day I'm making, I don't know what you call it. I'm going to say drumsticks. Normally we do like steak, chicken, breast, like nice marinated, Philly steaks or cheese steaks. I don't know why I said Philly. Cheese steaks. I usually go out all out on Sunday and cook stuff, and even these drumsticks I'm really looking forward to because I'm gonna put a lot of work into it. So I've got them all ready. I just gotta do a lot of prep. So it's gonna take me probably like an hour and a half to prep. So I do, but I we usually have dinner at 5 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock now, so I got plenty of time. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing that actually. Um, but I do have some stuff to do here at work. What time should I be there? Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if I had people come over. Um, I think I need to do more of that too, you know? I feel like one of the things I'm missing with my guys, and even like peers, right? Other business owners, I should be meeting with them more. You know, I really should. And I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm trying to recruit a worker who I think will totally help this business out a ton. And there's been like 3 employees like that over my years where I'm like actively trying to pull them from whatever they're doing to come work for me. I kind of enjoy it, to be honest with you. Anyway, while I'm in that process, I find myself wanting to invite that person to lunch, to, you know, go do something. Hey, what do you do for fun? Let's go do it. And I feel like, you know, if that's what I have to do to try to get somebody to work here, I should probably be doing that with my team already. You know what I mean? And for some reason, I just, you know, obviously I'm busy. I got workers that are busy too. Like they're all busy, but it'd be a nice gesture, you know? So those are some of the things that I've been learning. But yeah, I'm trying to bring this person here, um, and it would be amazing. So here's another thing I've been learning too is when you know you have an opportunity to kind of hire somebody. Sorry, I got a text or email. Um, all right, where was I? When you have the opportunity to bring somebody that you think will really change your business, you also have to realize it's your responsibility to utilize that person and to give them the either tools or basically what I'm saying is there could be somebody that can come in and change your business for the better, but you still got to do a lot of work, right? Like if let's say for example, there's a paver guy. Let's just say for fun, this is made up. All right, I'm not trying to recruit a paver guy right now. But let's say I know this guy. He works for this big giant paver company. He can do everything. I'm talking everything. He knows how to use heavy machinery, and he can do any paver job that you put in front of him. He'll do it. You still have to get them the work. You still have to get them the helpers. Do you know what I mean? You still have to give them the tools to do their job. You still have to give them the freedom, whatever it is that they need. But more importantly, it's your responsibility to keep those jobs coming in stacked. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to prepare with this new person that I'm trying to bring in. I'm pretty much warning the rest of the team that, hey, just if I can convince this guy to come work here, we still have to do our part. Like, you know what I mean? Or else it'll all be waste for nothing, you know? So that's one of the things that I've realized over the years is like you can have this perfect person, you can bring them in, you can book jobs and just boom, there you go, and let them get to work. The weight of that pressure sometimes isn't the only thing that's super heavy for that person. It's also just the mental aspect of, you know what, I'm doing everything here. Like that's what they're thinking, you know, it's like, I'm doing everything. And it shouldn't be like that. There should be teamwork here from above. from the office, from to the side by side. Who's your helpers? Who's you working? Who's there for you when you need something? So anyway, those are some of the things I've been thinking about. But as far as my ups and downs goes, like the video suggest, like the title of this says, is I went from looking at the cobwebs of the business because there wasn't any work coming in. We were just barely making payroll to, and then we had like 1 week where it was kind of like, oh, okay, things are getting a little bit better. And then we had 2 weeks of like bomb, like awesome, boom, great money coming in. And now we're back to tomorrow's schedule. So like all the mowing and fertilizing and garden work looks great. It's the landscaping jobs and the sprinklers that are bad. And in that division, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, pretty much 8 people in those two divisions, if you count the estimator, and even the dispatcher, right, for the sprinklers. So if you count that, that's 9 people in those two divisions. But let's just take the estimator and the dispatcher out. That leaves 7 workers that might not be bringing in a lot of money tomorrow. So I got to talk to them and figure out how bad would it be if they had days off. You know what I mean? My fear is that they'll be like, no, it's all good. And then they'll use that time to go look for another job. Like, I can literally see that happening. It's happened to me in the past. So I got to keep them busy. And I have today to figure that out. We do have some stuff. I think I can keep my sprinkler guys busy, even with some paying jobs. It's going to be a stretch. It would definitely be a Band-Aid for tomorrow, in hopes that while they're doing those simple jobs, more jobs come in. Because I always have this mindset of like Google, I need to change some things there, because on Google, it shows that my office hours are closed Saturday and Sunday. So I don't think they run ads for me on Saturday and Sunday, but I actually need them to. So I got to figure that out. I'm going to talk to my marketing guy. I just thought about that just now. So, all right, so the financial plan. I got a month's worth of bills in an account. So I pre-funded 1 month. I'm trying to make plans. So I've made, all right, here's what I've done. I've pre-funded a month of bills, and I have planned how to fund the second month. I just need to wait for some checks to come in. And once I do that, I can focus on keeping them full. So keeping some money in there, which I'm doing already. I'm doing that already because I have 1 month funded. So I have to put like $1,500 a day in that account just to keep it funded for the whole next month. So I've got to hit payroll and do that. The leftover, I'm paying. I think I've got a vendor that I need to just finish paying off, and then I can focus on, the expenses of the day, normal stuff, gas. That's really, and materials, gas and materials, and supplies, right? So like string trimmers. I even got my guys talking about wanting a couple of trimmers. It's like, damn it, guys, let's try and get through without these trimmers. But so they've actually asked me for 2 trimmers, and I just now remembered that, and they've asked me probably 2 weeks ago. So when they asked me, man, I looked at them like, dude, are you out of your mind? I can't get you trimmers right now. So that might be something I'll have to dip into here's my other thing. I do have enough in another account to fund the next month, but I want that for my emergency. You know what I mean? You got to have like an emergency fund that you don't touch until you absolutely need it. So I've pre-funded next month or 1 month. I have planned how to how to fund the second month. And then we've planned on the winter fund. If I can keep the 2 months full funded so we can pay the bills for 2 months if no work came in, if we can keep this up until November, if I can keep that going, the money that I get for prepays for snow, which we usually get about $100,000, will go directly into the payroll account for the winter, and that will cover everybody for the winter. And if it snows and we actually make money plowing, which is already tough, even if it does snow, because a lot of our accounts are commercial accounts, so we don't actually get the money for 45 days after we do a plowing job. So that's kind of tough, you know what I mean? But we have a lot of jobs that are plowing that we charge the day of. I want to say we are up to, I'm just guessing here, $4,000 that we can charge after a snowstorm. And that for sure covers the winter, a week's pay of winter. Maybe not. I don't remember now. Plus that, plus some of that, plus the 100K that we would put away would cover the winter. I don't see. I haven't figured it out completely because I actually think the 100K does pay for the whole payroll. That $4,000 that we would get would go back towards the bills account. Yeah, I just need to write these down on like a big wall so I remember. So that money goes and pays for the winter, the bills, and then once we get through the winter, the February prepays will fund 2 months, another 2 months if we can keep it up and have 4 months of bills paid. That's my goal. And you know, this isn't crazy talk. Jonathan Potoshnik, the co-founder of Service Autopilot before he sold it, was talking about having a year's worth of bills funded. And when he said that to a group that I was in a room where he was talking like that, I thought the guy was out of his mind. It's like, dude, yeah, that sounds great. Must be nice. But it actually can happen. You can do that. The other thing that's always looming over my head is that I've got this shop that I've got to put a lot of money into this shop. Sorry, somebody's parked in front of the building. And I always get a little tense when that happens because you never know. Remember parking locations on Apple Watch. I wasn't talking to you. So anyway, but yeah, things, you know, I don't know. Like tonight I'm gonna be stressed, and then tomorrow I'm gonna go into survival mode and do whatever I gotta do. I know that about myself. But today I'm trying to figure out what to do about my landscapers that aren't gonna have much work. I have to figure something out for them. But anyway, other than that, things are going good, and we had a giant job that we almost could have did tomorrow, and that would have been amazing. But the husband went out of town, of the project. The husband went out of town, and the wife doesn't want us to start it until he gets back. We even offered her a 10% discount if we could start it tomorrow, and she turned that down. So that was a bummer. And my estimator's going out of town for a week. So this is gonna be, oh man, This is going to be something. I'll tell you that. But what's going on with you guys? What do you guys got going on today? I know some of you are relaxing. Yeah. Um, I'm just on this trip of like trying to get my finances in order. And that's another thing. Like the way I've been doing it now this last couple of weeks, where I've put money into into the bills account, so it's in a debit checking account. I actually show that I have a lot of money in the bank, which is another good thing because I definitely got to do this also. Like, I wasn't thinking about this, but I do have to get my finances in order in case I do need a loan, in case I do get a loan to fix the shop yard, to pave the yard and put the concrete down and the drains and all that stuff. So, man, this is crazy. I was listening to an interview. I forgot who was getting interviewed, but the question was, oh yeah, I think it was on Tommy Mello, the Home Service Millionaire. I love that podcast. He said, "What would you tell yourself 10 years ago about business, or about what would you tell him 10 years ago?" And I was like, what would I tell myself 10 years younger version of me? And I think what I would do is say, business is hurdles. Business is every 3 weeks of a big hurdle. Like, think about it. Even just starting a business, like sometimes, like let's say, like you got to get a down payment for a place. You've got to have the first months, maybe first last months. I mean, I know in lawn care it's a little different. You can do it start out of your garage, but you do have to have equipment, right? Like, um, and it costs money. Like, it costs a lot of money, but there are some businesses that aren't like, yes, for lawn care, the point of entry is pretty simple. But once you start getting, you have responsibilities of having to make payroll and stuff like that. It's like it's big. It's no longer easy to come in this business. I can't just take a break now. I'm kind of stuck because I've got all these bills that I've got to pay. I've got this payroll that I got to make. So, but it's fun, right? Like, this is all fun, but it's still hurdles. Like, I'm dealing with the city to get the yard done. That's a hurdle. When I had to buy this place because they were trying to kick me out, that was a hurdle. And I had to figure out a way to get it. And so I bought it. It was a giant hurdle that I had to do. And then I did it, and the next thing you know, the city's like, "Well, now you got to pave the yard and stuff. Like, you got to do curb and sidewalk in the front. You got to pay a lot of money now that you're here to do all this stuff." And it's like, damn, that's a hurdle. Even getting the plans and the building permits and stuff like that is freaking hard. It's a hurdle. It's all hurdles. Like, let's say if I had enough money to just go boom, make it all go away, do it all in one day, another hurdle would show up. You know what I mean? And I'm dealing with a hurdle now with like the low work, the little bit of work that's coming in. And so the way I'm trying to look at it is like, what can I control? I can't really control it. I could just kind of like do my best and know and have the team know I'm doing my best. Because here's the deal. Like, if it was just the maintenance, the mowing, garden maintenance, fertilizing, this business really would just run itself, to be honest with you. It would need very little supervision. You know, it wouldn't need much overhead supervision. We're just kind of trying to do more, right? So it's like the mowing, garden maintenance, and fertilizing, does really good. It more than covers their bills for each department. But the landscaping and the sprinklers cost materials. Like every job you do costs money. Every job. There are some jobs that don't. The landscapers can clean a nasty looking yard without any materials. So that's not completely true. But the big paying jobs, even a sprinkler job, even a $200 sprinkler job, I've got to pay the tech between $25 to $30 an hour. Add 10% to that for government fees and all this stuff. So you're looking at $25 to $35 an hour for that one job that costs $200. And then you've got to buy sometimes those parts. A slip fix is like $15. Fittings, a couple dollars. So you're looking at, let's say, roughly $20. So let's say you're at 30 for the tech plus 20. You're at $50 plus the gas. I don't need to tell you guys this. You know this, right? I'm just talking now. Got to pay the gas. Got to pay the insurance for that visit, for that day. You know, there's a cost every day. So you're looking at easily 50, 70, $80 out of the 199. Not bad, but they actually took more than an hour to get that job done if you count the drive time to get there and the drive time to get to the next job. So let's say you were in at $60. So that's another 30 on top of the 80. So you're at $110. $199 is what you made off that. You still made some money for sure, but that's how that job, like a mow job, you go there for $199, you mow it and you leave. All you paid for was a little bit of gas, and that's it. You know what I mean? Yes, you had to buy the equipment, and if you count that, sure. But the way I look at that is like you also look at the tools you paid for your sprinkler techs. Doesn't cost nearly as much as a big mower, I get it, but they do a lot less jobs. So it pretty much balances itself out. That's the way you're supposed to look at costs. Like if you really paid like a company that did all your numbers for you, that figured out what you're supposed to charge, they would ask you how many hours a week does your mow guy use the edger, right? Like the metal blade edger, and you'd say, well, pretty much 5 minutes a day, a house, times 10, so you're looking at 50 minutes a day, so less than an hour, so you're looking at 3 hours a week, maybe 4, maybe, and then you have to divide that by the lifespan of that edger. So if you paid $400 and you're only, I'm already getting confused, but that's how they go about those things. So then you should be charging per hour. You divide how many hours in a season times the life warranty of the edger. Let's say it's 2 years. How many hours to cover that plus the profit? You're looking at, you need to charge this much per hour for that one piece of equipment. Valencia, good afternoon. Saludos. I'm just pretty much wrapping things up here. I haven't had any questions today, but if anybody has any questions, let me know. I'm just gonna wrap things up soon here, but I just want to say, like my title says, ups and downs. Because I had some downs a few weeks back, I made some changes for the positive. I was able to fund next month because I was just overreacting, but I'm glad I did it. and now I'm trying to, my focus now is, let me get 2 months of bills put away in an account, which I already know how it's happening. I already know. I just got to wait for some checks to come in and keep funding payroll like I always do. Start thinking about worst case scenarios, company first. That means these big jobs don't come in, we have to have a plan B. And there are many options for what plan B looks like. Plan B could be, hey, landscapers, I need you guys to do this for me. And if you do this for me, when we start making more money, this is your reward for waiting for jobs to come in. That's an option. Another option is, take a week off. I hate to say that. I'd hate to do a week off. Can you take a week off? Would that be okay with you? And see kind of how that plays out. The third, plan C or D is, is that something we're not going to do the rest of the year? We're just going to go, well, Valencia, always prepare for the worst, but I don't want to let my landscapers go. That would be worst case scenario. But yeah, I'm planning on that being my issue. So I've got a plan on the worst, meaning we're not going to get any jobs. So what can we do to keep our landscapers so they don't quit? So what my managers pretty much want to do is basically split the easy maintenance jobs with them. The problem is then we're going to have the regular maintenance guys not have many hours, and there's more responsibility on that part for me, because there's more, they have their own routes, whereas the landscapers don't really have a route. Like if all my landscapers quit, we would just tell customers we can't do it, which is not entirely true. We do have a landscaper waiting to get promoted, but the landscaper we have in position is just freaking best. We don't want him to do anything. All depends on what's the reason they want to leave. Correct, the leave. All depends. What's the reason they want to leave? Well, my landscapers don't want to leave. I just want them to take a break because we're slow. And from my experience, when I tell workers, hey, there's no work this week, can you take it off? They usually quit. They usually try to find another job. Now, am I arrogant enough to think if I'm struggling, so are other landscape companies? I don't know. Like, is that a stupid way of thought? And I definitely don't want to think that. I'm not going to assume that. So I don't want them to look for another job. But I kind of feel like, with all our marketing and so many estimates that we try and do, if we're not closing any sales, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, and they're paid really well, right? My landscapers are paid well because I want them to stay here. So it's possible that they just wouldn't get enough money if they, so like, even if somebody comes to my door with all the experience in the world, I wouldn't start them at what I'm paying my main guys. So I bet you they wouldn't get paid right away. Damn, that's a hard one, because most times they're looking for another place to work because they need to work. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I know better. I've had guys, take one day off and they're looking for another job. You know what I mean? I also have had all my guys here for a long time, so I don't think they would panic that fast, but my landscapers are a little different. The only good thing that I feel that we've done well for them to make it so maybe they won't leave after even more than a week of no work. I mean, that's crazy to have a week with no work, but during the season, right? I mean, man, this is crazy, but they get a bonus. Like, my landscaper gets a bonus when they finish a job within budget. If they finish a job within budget, they they make bonus, and they've gotten some not super consistent, because we've had some ups and downs this year with getting work, but they've had some checks where it's like, wow, damn, like to the point where me and the managers are like, are we gonna pay that? And I go, we have to. That's why we want to do this, so that he can look at his check and go, damn, I can't leave here. I think, owner, we should have a plan so when we slow down, our guys don't have to look for another job. You think? Um, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I always want to have a plan. Yesterday my operations manager told one of the guys to come in yesterday on Saturday, um, to clean the trucks so he can get paid. Now, I was like, I get what you're doing, but that's not really the kind of work I want to give guys to make more money. They need to be bringing in money. Um, I let them do it. I let that worker. And I didn't want to like undermine my ops manager, so I didn't say anything other than that's fine. And it is. I feel like it's fine. I don't think it's an ongoing issue, so I'm like, it's fine. But I definitely don't think that should be the plan, like this week, because if they're not bringing in money, I don't want to pay them. I can't afford to pay them. You know what I mean? Especially with my new financial plan thing that I've got going. Maybe 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, I'd have been like, yeah, just bring them in and we'll just make money we'll move money from sprinklers or whatever. They'll make enough money to cover everything. But we got to stop thinking like that, man. For company first, if they're not bringing in money, they really shouldn't be working. Whether however bad that sounds for the business, whether we lose them, we beg them to come back when we have work. I don't know, but really shouldn't be paying somebody when we're looking at the schedule, we're not seeing any work. I hear you. In my case, when it slows down on the landscape area, my mowing service is what will help me a little bit. Yes. Also, um, like I said, the mowing is going good. The gardens is going good. Like the maintenance side of garden cleanup is good. The routine garden shrub pruning, things like that, are going good. The fertilizing is going good. Sprinklers was going good, and then it just died, just like that. Boom, just died. Um, and so that's kind of got me a little worried. The only silver lining I see with myself with the sprinklers is that I'm changing things for next year in that, and I don't want to talk about that because it's kind of a big change. Kind of, I mean, sort of, not too. It's not bad. It's going to be awesome, but um, you know, it's slow right now. Honestly, at this point, if we only had two sprinkler techs from here till the end of the year, I think we would be okay, because that's like the normal cycle of sprinklers. And we have four full-time guys, two on the weekends, which the weekend guys, they don't mind having off when there's nothing, because that literally is their only break if I don't have any work for them. Um, Employees also should be aware of the trade. That's right. And I forget that a lot. It's ups and down things. It's going to be good weeks and it's the season, but when season it's gone, they know. I think it's true. I forget that a lot. I'm so like they're right here that I forget to step back and go, hey, that's the way it is. Like with the sprinklers, for example. I mean, there's people do sprinkler work here, but they do it on the side. Like they have their normal jobs and then they do sprinkler work on the side, because they're the only people that have sprinkler businesses are like the business owner, right? And they hire helpers throughout the year, and then when they slows down, they let their helpers go, and they're fine with it being slow because they're the only ones doing it. But because that's how sprinkler guys know, that's how it is. I mean, even when I'm trying to hire a really experienced sprinkler tech, they know. They tell me, I go, what do you do in the wintertime? They go, yeah, I do this other thing, or I move out of state for the winter and I come back. So you're right. I gotta remember that. Thank you. That was something I forget. It's going to help me when I make this call here soon. In fact, my general manager said, "Hey, what are we gonna do like for Monday?" And I said, "Well, let me call some people and kind of get the feeling so that we can make some better decisions about what to do." Um, yeah, man. Their bonus is good. Their wage is great. I don't care what they say or think. I think it's great. Um, so there's no issues with that. They drive great vehicles. They have all 2021 Rams, and they're nice trucks. The 2500s, they're freaking amazing. Really nice, decked out. Um, so I give them everything I can. So we'll see how it goes. But hey, we just hit the hour mark, and I appreciate you guys hearing me out. Um, you know, I wish the best for everybody. I think we're doing pretty good too. I'm making some changes for the better, and things are going pretty good. Don't get frustrated. At the end of your day, you have to make the best decisions for your company. That's true too, man. Um, I always forget that company, like without the company, the workers, you can't give the workers what they want without a company. So like sometimes I feel like, I sacrifice the company to make sure I'm paying somebody, but that's just hurting the company. It's hurting all the other workers when you're doing that. You know what I mean? And I have been thinking this company first mentality for like 2 years now, and it's really important. Well, thank you, Valencia Landscaping. I really feel like I needed to hear some of your comments for sure, so I really appreciate that. Um, I'm gonna go here, subscribe. So I am now subscribed to you. Thank you for that. All right, guys. Chat with you, bro. Best of luck. Later, everybody.